Welcome to another episode of Clash Wrestling 360. This is the podcast that is all about the collective league of adrenaline, strength, and honor. It is January 31st, 2016, and on today's episode, I will be discussing last night's huge Seize the Day 9 event, which took place at the Taylortown Trade Center in Taylor, Michigan. And if you were not at Seize the Day last night, all I have got to say is shame on you, because you missed out on a great night. History was made in Taylor, Michigan last night. And thank you to everybody who was in attendance at the Taylortown Trade Center last night for the anniversary event of Clash Wrestling. Like I said, it was a great night. And the interviews are posted, so if you have not yet listened to them, right after this podcast, go check them out. There are 2 pre-show interviews. First one is with one half of the Clash Tag Team Champions, the Midnight Society, Maserati Rick, and another with Raylyn McCray, I think she said, the Miley Cyrus of professional wrestling. And also intermission report interview with my very good friend and Clash member Randy Casey. So you're going to want to check out those 3 great interviews. Now let's get started by recapping Seize the Day 9. Our first opening bout of the evening, the main event, Justin Maine taking on the big man, the bodyguard for the Clash champion Dragon Greed, large in charge, Brutus Dillon. Wow, this was a great match. To start off the show, and I would say this maybe even stole the show, Justin Maine getting the win with the Phoenix Splash. Wow, like I said, amazing match from both men. Both competitors did a fantastic job in this match, but like I said, it was Justin Maine getting the win. And next up on Seize the Day, it is my boys, the Clash, in 6-man tag team action, taking on the Omega Atlas Hightower, the Mercenary Chris Moore, and making his Clash debut, as Randy Casey said last night, the Justin Bieber lookalike, Dylan Bosnick. And who got the victory? Of course, it was the Clash getting the win, just showing one more time why the Clash is the most dominant faction in the history of pro wrestling. My boys getting a W in that one. And up next, we have women's action in a fatal 4-way match. Leah Vaughn, making her return to Clash, defeated Ashley America and 2 women that made their Clash debuts last night, Jules Malone and Ray Lynn, who was interviewed before the show. You can listen to that. And it was Leah Vaughn picking up the win with the Dutch clutch after making Ashley America tap out in the middle of the ring. Very good match in this one. All four ladies gave it 100%, but it was Leah Vaughn who picked up the win. And tag team action is up next. It is a street fight for the Clash Tag Team Championships. My boys representing the Clash, Tommy Tresnick and Cameron Sky, taking on the Midnight Society. Maserati Rick and Usama Lion. And unfortunately, the Midnight Society retained the Clash Tag Team titles by cheating. Yeah, I said it. By cheating. I know you're probably thinking, if it's a street fight, there's no DQs, no countouts. How can you cheat? It's simple. Maserati Rick used the Clash megaphone to hit Tommy Tresnick in the head, not once, but twice, on top of a ladder, which made Tommy Tresnick crash through a table. Or actually, it was Cameron Sky, excuse me. But it doesn't matter which one it was, because to get back to the cheating, unless you're a part of the Clash, you cannot use that megaphone. Maserati Rick had no right to use that. He is not a part of the Clash. Clash members are the only ones who are allowed to use that megaphone. He shouldn't even touch that. That is for Clash only. And last time I checked, he is not a Clash member. So he had no right using that. But still, unfortunately, they retained the tag team titles. And right after the match, we see Brutus Dillon and Evan Craig from the Entourage make their way to the ring. And we see a big double chokeslam from Brutus Dillon onto the Midnight Society. And then him and Evan Craig pick up the tag team titles and they pose. And I think this could be a message from Large in Charge, Brutus Dillon and Evan Craig, that they want those tag team titles. And we could see them challenge for those tag team titles in the future. And if they do challenge for those titles, I think the Midnight Society, they're going to have some trouble holding on to those titles. And now it is time for intermission. And it is now time to sing happy birthday, as usual, to Martin the cameraman. And Randy Casey, my good friend, Clash member, he's being a nice guy here. He comes out with a birthday cake. And for a birthday present, he announces that Martin is going to have his first ever wrestling match. Now, who wouldn't want that? It's their birthday, and their present is they get to have their first pro wrestling match. And it's against Randy Casey. But, now don't get me wrong, Martin is a good guy. But instead, for some reason, he leaves the ring, and then Randy gets the cake, being a good guy. He's a great guy. He offers it to Martin, and this part was very disrespectful. Now, don't get me wrong. Everybody likes Martin. Like I said, he's a good guy, but he very rudely shoves the cake into Randy Casey's face. That was very disrespectful. And worst of all, he sneaks back in the ring, and Randy Casey has cake in his face. He probably can't even see, and the referee counts to 10 while he's outside. Cake in the face should have been a disqualification. That's a foreign object. Martin shoved it in Randy Casey's face. That should have been a disqualification, but instead, Martin gets the count-out victory against Randy Casey. That is just wrong, and I couldn't believe it. So let's move on. It is now time for the Clash Championship match. This one has been heating up for a while now in Clash Wrestling. It is Dragon Greed defending the championship against Caveman Elk. And there is some controversy in this one, fans. In the finish, while the referee was trying to get the entourage to the back, get them away from ringside, the action was going on in the ring, and Dragon Greed gets a pinfall on Elk, but the referee did not see that it kind of looked like one of the shoulders of Elk was up during the 3 count, but still Clash champion Dragon Greed. You never know, though. Clash management could review this, and maybe we will see a rematch sometime down the line. But all I gotta say is, though, if Elk would have accepted my offer back in November, the Divided We Fall post show, for me to be in his corner, I could have helped him out. Hey, I could have saw that his shoulder was up. I could have let the referee know his shoulder was up, but he didn't take my help. He turned down my offer. He wouldn't let me help him out. He wouldn't let me be in his corner. And if I was there to help him, he would be Clash champion right now. So it's his own fault he lost. And next time Elk is on Clash Wrestling 360, I'm going to tell him that because it's the truth. He cost himself the Clash Heavyweight Championship. And now it is time for the main event of the evening. The main event for Seize the Day 9. And it is the Loser Leaves Clash match. 2 of the greatest champions Clash Wrestling has ever seen. Clash member Juntai taking on GQ Gavin Quinn. And wow, this was a great match. Fantastic main event. And this one, wow. The Clash came out to help Juntai. Brought a chair out to the ring. But for some reason, Juntai, he turns down the offer from the Clash. He turns down the chair. And he wants to do it on his own. I mean, that's okay, but come on. The Clash is a family. You don't reject help from your family. I mean, come on, Juntai. And then, unfortunately, it is Gavin Quinn getting the win of this match. So, unfortunately, Juntai, formerly known as Jay Miller, now has to leave Clash Wrestling. He is gone from the company. Sad to see, but if only he would have accepted the help from the Clash. It's just too bad. We have seen the last of Juntai in Clash Wrestling. One of the best champions Clash Wrestling has ever seen. But it was Gavin Quinn getting the win. He